Hello everyone, hi, I'm Jewel and welcome to my channel. Today's story that I'm bringing you is Hopeful for the Future. It was written by David Wilson, CKD patient and NKF advocate. This is coming from the National Kidney Foundation. I was diagnosed with kidney disease when I was 22 months old. This came as a shock to my parents. We had no family history of kidney disease and we were aware of and knew very little about it. I was put on medication along with chemotherapy to delay progression of the disease. This made for a tough childhood. I struggled with high blood pressure, and since my kidneys didn't work right, my body retained fluid. Between years of taking steroids and fluid retention, I was a very overweight child. I had a hard time making friends, and I was teased constantly. All I wanted was to be a kid and to fit in. My parents tried to put me in sports, but I couldn't keep up with the kids and I was sick. I was in and out of the hospital all the time. I missed most of my fifth grade because I was in the hospital. To this day, I still don't understand fractions. This is not unusual for kids with kidney disease. In sixth grade, things got really bad. My disease caused me to retain so much fluid that my lungs collapsed. I literally couldn't breathe. The next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital and I was on dialysis. I was in the University of Minnesota Pediatric Dialysis Unit and I was only 11 years old. When I finally went back to school after being in the hospital, the kids and teachers didn't recognize me. I had lost 90 pounds of water weight. I went from weighing 150 pounds to 60 pounds in only a couple of weeks. I was an 11-year-old on dialysis and I didn't understand what was happening. I hated sitting on dialysis for so many hours. I didn't like the food restrictions, and all I really cared about was being a normal kid who could play sports and eat junk food with my friends. But as a kidney patient, I couldn't do any of those things, and for me, it was hell. I had my first kidney transplant when I was 13. My dad was the donor. I remember there being so much hope around getting that transplant. It was going to fix everything. I was told that it was 100% match and was going to work. Unfortunately, within a few months, my kidney disease returned to the transplanted kidney. It only lasted 5 months before they removed it altogether. I was back on dialysis again. I remember thinking, why me? I thought this was supposed to help. I also remember how difficult it was for my parents, especially for my father, who was so optimistic about the transplant working. 3 years later, when I was 17, I had my second transplant, and I knew immediately when I woke up that the surgery hadn't gone well. I felt terrible and could tell that something was seriously wrong. My body temperature was 105 degrees. They had me on a bed of ice. I was in agony. The doctors did an ultrasound, and within half an hour, I was back in surgery having the transplanted kidney removed. This transplant didn't last 24 hours, so I was back on dialysis again. Only now, I was transitioning from the pediatric dialysis unit to an adult dialysis unit. I can tell you from the first-hand experiences, this was not an easy process in place for this transition. Suddenly, everything had a formal adult tone to it. It was all about medication, diet, and rules, and HIPAA laws. I may have been 18, but I was still very much a kid, and this was a lot for a kid to handle. It was a very difficult transition. There I was, doing dialysis 3 days a week and wondering what would be next for me. I knew I had to go to college, but I wondered what my future would be. Now, this is 10 years later. Today, I'm 28 years old. and still on dialysis. I recently graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in digital design. Dialysis can be very isolating at times, especially at my age, but it does not affect my positive outlook on life, and I am always hopeful for something better. I'm hopeful that in time, research will provide me and many others with better options. Everyone, this story was hopeful for the future, and this was David Wilson's story as a child of when he was diagnosed with kidney disease as a baby. And as you see, he went through so many ups and downs through his childhood by being in the hospital so many times, which most kidney patients, this happens to all of us. So as a child, though, you can imagine how difficult this was for David. But even though he went through all of these difficulties in his life, he still he still reached his goal of a college education, and he's still on dialysis. But the thing about it is, he is still very, very hopeful, still positive about the future and what it will bring for this CKD community. So, guys, if you like this story and found it useful in any way, please like, share, and subscribe. And I also wanted to say that through David's story, I think all of us can be very, very inspired because most of us, at least myself, didn't come into kidney disease until I was a young adult. So I didn't go through this process that David did. But even though David had this kidney disease as a child, he's still so positive and hopeful. And guys, that's what I think that all of us should hold on to. We should hold on to being hopeful and positive that innovation and new products will come out so this disease can be more tolerated, more efficient, and also hopefully it can be eradicated one day. So guys, my thoughts to you is to be positive like David, always be hopeful like David, and know that one day all of this will pass for all of us. So guys, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.